We are live. Welcome to my thoughts on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7, Episode 12. The end is at hand. There will be spoilers for the episode and everything MCU and adjacent leading up to it, not for anything that came out after this episode first premiered. The episode is rated TV-14, so will this video be? Absolutely love this episode. Holy crap. Yeah. I'm glad, but also kind of sad because I'm going to miss the show that I'm going to watch the finale very soon, not having to wait. Or was this one of the ones where they aired them the same night? Whatever. Wrist too sore to check. I don't think there's really any preamble. I think I can jump directly into the episode. Yeah, a lot of really great stuff. Let's see. Maybe this will be chronological. We'll see. The Chronocoms already know, obviously, because of the time stream. But let's see. So the crap. The start. Yeah, it's not going to be completely chronological, but very early in the episode, you know, the Quinjet reaches the Zephyr, and they're ready, and then the Zephyr with the Quinjet gets pulled into the very large spaceship. And yeah, I really like the thing, I like the running thing throughout this episode of one problem at a time. I guess that's the next problem. Right, one problem at a time. And yeah, they're standing there at the door, and I think it's D'Souza who points out, any chance they're doing the exact same thing on the other side of the door? Because it's might as well open the door. It's not gonna. It doesn't seem like anything else is going to happen before, and I appreciate there's a second or two before the smoke clears, and it's like, are they hiding with? Oh no, never mind. And they walk out, and they can walk throughout the entire Zephyr. I like the fake out where you hear a door open. It's like, oh, that's the. Oh no, it was Daisy. And why wouldn't they? They didn't go to space to hide. They went there for reinforcements. They got the reinforcements. Why would they not go to the superior, obviously superior ship? So yeah, and Daisy is going to go save Gemma, and finally, So I know I said, I think it was in the video, in my video on the episode before this one, I would, I said something along the lines of, I would say just kiss already, but they already did. That was in the time loop. He doesn't remember that. She does. So yeah, this is for him, their first kiss. And yeah, again, love the little detail. There is nonverbal consent, look at her face, watch it multiple times if you need to, but that is definite, nonverbal consent. And the smile after, and the thing with, I didn't know I was going to do that. I'm glad you did. They're so great together. I did not see this coupling coming at all, but I'm really, really happy with it. Yeah, let's see. You have the, she, at one point, she's moving through the ship, and she just has to step off to the side, and these really dangerous, this dangerous alien walks right past her, seemingly not noticing or reacting. At least I love that in the when it happened to a different Marvel actress, and I loved it here. And yeah, she points out, that's creepy. And yeah, the bit where the screen comes on, and not just in front of Daisy, but also in front of Mac and D'Souza. And yeah, it is clever of her, because she's trying to demoralize Mac and D'Souza and further drive Daisy. And yeah, that is consistent with their characters. It takes a lot for Mac to really lose his temper and feel powerless. But if you can get him there, yeah, whereas Daisy, she's too stubborn to give up pretty much all of the time, you know, so yeah. There might be some exceptions, but yeah, most of the time. 100% of the time, it's 70% of the time. And then, yeah, I got that backwards, didn't I? Anyway, yeah. Let's see, yeah, she gets to the, what's it called? Yeah, what was the other thing? Yeah, I think we'll stay in space for a little bit, and then do Earth scenes afterwards. But yeah, I think that, yeah, let's do yeah, Quake reaches Gemma and Deke. I did also. That was a funny running gag. You know, I'm gonna go find Gemma and Deke. Sure. I knew I had to come find Gemma and me. Sure. Yeah. Uh, I almost feel bad for him, but then sometimes he really does something wrong. So, uh, yeah. So yeah, right. Before she saves him, yeah, it's so messed up. The thing of yeah, they inject her, and now she's forgetting and remembering all over the place, and apparently she got let's see, was she nominated or got? I skimmed MDB trivia just before hitting record, and there was something about an award. I get it, and I think wasn't she also nominated or won for the other episode, the one where she was like on the other planet? Again, fantastic performance. She's so freaking good. I'd like to see her in something else. I'd like to see pretty much all the cast. Really the only ones. Ming-Na Wen. And I mean, I don't know if Clark Gregg counts because most of what I've seen him in is MCU, but I haven't seen him play that many other characters. I feel like he was in at least one other thing I watched, but I forget. Did he maybe do a PTA movie or something? Watched several of those, certainly. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much, and then yeah, Bill Paxton, obviously. Big fan of his. R.I.P. Other than that, I'm not super familiar with the cast from other stuff. Anyway, I think yeah, the injection. I also like ow, she's so precious. She's a sweet summer child. When she isn't melting chronocoms, I mean. And, okay, technically she didn't forcibly melt, but she did push that chronocom very far, and it ended up melting. Or was that the self-destruct? I forget, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, the thing about, he's trying to remind her about Bobo, and there's one point where she remembers his full name, and then another where she completely forgets, and so he tries. So IMDb trivia didn't mention it. I have to wonder if at some point, I'm afraid I forget. No, I think it's worse if I say the wrong name by accident. The actor who plays Deke, I can't help but wonder if he at some point, like between takes, did this like spot on imitation of, I don't know if that's how Ian DeCastecker is normally, but it is how he plays Fitz, certainly. I've seen a little bit of interview. He seems somewhat more casual there, but yeah, it's a perfect Fitz. I don't know if that's and then they wrote it in, or it's possible that they wrote it in and then he just yeah, practiced a lot because yeah, holy crap! It's the posture, which is where he starts, the way he, the accent, the intonation, and the whole thing, and this thing of like, he says that whole thing, and then he prompts her to say the name, and she says James Bond, and he's like, no, but I understand why you said that, because yeah, it's not 100% unlike a Sean Connery Bond or something. Let's see. I think that might just about. Let's see. Right. Daisy saving them, and Gemma backing away from her and just like, oh. And the thing of, why are you wearing a costume? It's not a costume. Poor Daisy. She's still like, I think that got to some part of like Daisy on some level is like, I'm not a cosplayer anymore, okay? I just, I'm serious now, because like for a while she wasn't the most, yeah, and we can understand why. I'm not judging her, but just, I think that's why she reacted like that. I think other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents would have been more like, it's not a costume, but yeah, and the thing with, it's a uniform. Can I have one? And Deke and Daisy look at each other as like, yes, in unison, because like, yeah, that'll get her there. um I think that does get us to the, yeah, so Cora is there to stop. I will just briefly talk about, so yeah, I feel bad for the character that she died, but I do think it is a logical place for the writer to take it, because at the end of the day, she made the wrong choice. I mean, would Daisy and the others have been okay with her going on the ship? I guess if Daisy felt confident that she was now on their side, I think she would have, and what's Nate gonna do then? But she ended up being killed by Nate because she kept trusting him even after all of this proof of not, and one can understand why she's confused. She just found out that her mom, it wasn't entirely untrue. Her mom did technically keep her, I mean, before Nate said one word to her, she was going to shoot herself. So it didn't all come from Nate. Some of it is this realization that her own mom, kept her somewhat confined, and Nate, of course, it's a good detail because, like, Cora says to Daisy, "You're twisting the words," and then when in reality that's what Nate is doing. He says, the like, Jiaying was afraid of you, and that's just not true. She wasn't like afraid of her. She was, she was aware that there was a potential danger there, and she wanted like, the thing she was talking about was taking away Cora's power, at least temporarily. That's not the same thing as, that's something you do for someone that you want to help. That, I mean that's the equivalent of, like, if you see someone with a gun that you care about and they're not in the right state of mind to be carrying, you might try to get the gun away from them in a safe a way as possible, obviously, but that's the equivalent. And Nate twisted to say, oh, she was gonna kill you, she was gonna keep you locked up forever. That, yeah. I thought they did a really good job. Nobody like spelled it out, like called it out. I'm not sure anybody realized, but we, the audience, pick up Nate's projecting. There's the thing of, like, your same gender parent never wanted you, was, yeah, was afraid of you. These various things he's saying. That's what, I mean. It's possible that, let me think, Gideon, right? Wait, no, Wilfred, right? I think Wilfred was the father. Because, yeah, Gideon is Nate's brother. Yeah. This is what Wilfred felt about Nate. And he might have even come right out and said it. Because, the Maliks are not very good to their family, So, yeah. And it's very much, there's that saying, hurt people. And bit people, bite people, if you haven't already, Dracula's ex-girlfriend on Nebula. If you don't already have Nebula, there is, I forget how long, but there's like a free trial, if that's the only thing you want to watch, because it's awesome. Philosophy tubes in it, and amazing. Anyway, yeah, so the, yeah, he maybe on some level even believes, but certainly is acting like, oh, everybody had this, the anyone that he feels some kinship with. I'm not sure he believes it about like Daisy, for example, but oh, okay, maybe Daisy, but maybe not Phil MD, for example. But you know, with Korra, certainly he recognizes some of himself, and so in in his words, possibly his mind, it's like, oh, they're the exact same. It's the 100% mirror, and yeah, he even says that oh, Daisy is dangerous. She quaked the world apart. Now, I feel confident in saying he knows that's a lie. He didn't show Korra what Daisy did in the various timelines. She just has to take his word for it. And yeah, he knows that, I mean, yeah. Let's see. We found out that she could have, if I recall, but it wasn't, I'm afraid I forget his name, the character's name, but it was the um, Nathan Petrelli, I think he played in Heroes, and he plays the protagonist. Crap, what was it called again? That vampire movie with Bill Paxton, Lance Henriksen, and Jeanette Goldstein. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, Daisy, comes face to face with Korra, and uses her power to block the fire, but she doesn't attack. And she talks about, and I quite liked. I thought they did a really good job on that. I forget the exact words Korra said, but Daisy responds with, "You don't believe that," and Korra is very upset by that, understandably so. And so Daisy, changes and says, and she even says, "Don't tell me what I believe." And then Daisy says, "Okay, I'll tell you what I believe," and lays it out. And yeah, if you are already really upset by people lying to you and like essentially gaslighting you, I do believe I am using that accurately. In this case, I try not to. I am aware that is a term that, yeah, it's been misused a lot. It is, not all lying is gaslighting. It goes beyond. Gaslighting is more than lying. It's more intense than a lie. Anyway, let's see. If you don't know it, you can find the definition online. And if you're watching this, you're already online. Let's see. But yeah, I thought they did a really good job with that. She's been gaslighted, and so it's upsetting to her because Daisy isn't meaning to gaslight her there, but it's reminiscent of the gaslighting. Yeah, and yeah, she ends up letting her go, and Sybil blames Nathan, and yeah, his cult leader shtick failed on her. And that I do also think they did a really good job. Like, yeah, for sure, he really, it's very cult leader-y. If you haven't watched it already, let's see, Ryan George Extra Plus, I think is the channel name, recently did a video on cults, and yeah, it was quite good. Let's see, I think that does, so yeah, Nate confronts Korra, and yeah, shoots her, and yeah, Katie M. O'Brien making the most of her one word in the entire episode. Nate asks, "How would you like to be promoted?" And she's like, "Absolutely." It's such a great, because yeah, it's one word and it's just a few seconds, but she gives it so much. Like, yeah, ambition is ambition bordering on like greed, like over ambition, is one of the hallmarks of Hydra. I guess I can't call it, because this is technically not quite Hydra. It's an offshoot, Neo Hydra. Let's go with that. Let's see. I think that does bring us to... Right? Did I say I hope I said it right. Because like he said, take her to the cell. So he maybe only stunned. Right? I think I said early in the video that he killed her. Yeah, I'm sorry. When he first shot her, I thought he killed her, and that made such an impression on me that stuck even past. Because yeah, he said take her to the cell. So he must have just stunned her. He demoted her, but he might still have some use for her, or possibly just use the machine to take to transfer her power or something. But yeah, yeah, and we get the thing with oh, there's a 22% probability, less than 22% probability you would succeed. Just yeah, but 100% probability that this is the last time the team is ever together again. Okay, I'm calling it at this point. They are like making fun of the trope, right? Because like, why would she be saying that? Like, what does that have to do with their mission to like? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are, and I appreciate it. It was fun. Um, Making fun is making fun under the right circumstances, but yeah, it was also the thing with the let's see, the first missiles they fire, and it does nothing, and it's nice and epic looking. It looks like they're gonna break. Oh no, never mind, because it's a spaceship. The Zephyr wasn't, they did what they could, but they it was limited what they had of like extraterrestrial tech. A lot of what they did with it was like Earth tech. So how would they know how much to do for a spaceship, especially one of that size? But yeah, very clever with the they managed to take out. Also, the thing with I don't think they understand sarcasm. And yeah, he triggers the thing that knocks them out, and then he's talking about like I could shoot 50 of these. Nice bit of expectation subversion. I guess it's possible he'll shoot some in the actual finale in the next episode, but yeah, he didn't shoot anyone with the shotgun in this one. But yeah, the thing about let's take out more than 50, and then oh hey, they turned these into they used one of these to turn what was it, a helium bomb nuclear or something like that. I forget the details. What could we do with 6? A lot, and yeah, I really appreciate that they are making sure D'Souza still gets stuff to do. Mac had the idea to knock several of them out like that, and then he was thinking, the just kind of last stand kind of thing. Let's take out as many as we can before they get, and then D'Souza, yeah, it's very very clever with yeah, and Deke showing up. Do we have a plan that isn't a suicide bomb? Because this looks a lot like a suicide bomb, and the thing with, duct tape. Let's get duct tape. I used to think that was just for ducks. And I gotta stop. At some point, I have to stop making references that obscure. I don't even know if that dude still YouTubes or anything. I haven't listened to anything by him in like, I haven't listened to anything new by him in like 10 years. Anyway, unsubscribed when he made one particular song that I just thought, okay, maybe this guy's not for me, but I still enjoy some of his other stuff. Anyway, yes, the yeah, I really like that we didn't get to know exactly what and they set up because they of course they had more like of those rockets. Yeah, put the chronocoms on there and use them like that. It's very, very clever. I quite appreciated that. Did think the CG was slightly wonky at times. It felt like there was a little too much movement on some of the chronocoms, a little too little on others. It was very ambitious of a shot, and I think they most of the way got there. Also quite appreciated. I hope that the FX team were treated well, because they, the thing about how like there wasn't just one tractor beam, it kept switching onto the next one. That does make a lot of sense. Yeah, I think that's everything that isn't on Earth. So let's go to Earth. Wow. There's sometimes you'll say something and it's like deja vu. But yeah, so at the start of the episode, obviously, it's pretty emotionally devastating. May is genuinely like, yeah, really upset by it, and they pretty quickly realize, oh, John is back. And that was also great. We see him teleport in and then, unfurl the map, and he's going around planting Krona bombs very nicely done on. And that's apparently like, what did that say? CPU radiator or something like that. Yeah, it looks like a futuristic bomb. Let's see. So then we get the bit where they take the they find a place that he'll definitely teleport to, make the big red cross, and they have the anti-teleportation ready, and let's see, the thing with he's like, you don't expect me to stand still while you put those on me, do you? Let's teleport them on you. And then, she runs and puts them on. And John tries teleporting. It hurts. It doesn't work. So he tries again. Because you never know, But yeah, and Nate's not going to disarm the charges. Could you give me just 10 more minutes? Because otherwise I'm going to blow up with this place. Well, in that case, thank you for your service. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he learned from he took a page out of the book of that particular, the S.H.I.E.L.D. person who made the decision to leave John behind in the other timeline, but yeah. And the thing with, there's like 1 or 2 minutes left, and Phil MD just barely has, he says, we gotta get out of here, and then it blows, because, they didn't say, there's definitely a minute left, so, really nicely done. Neither of them checked the exact time. They were just aware that if Nate doesn't disarm them right now, extremely soon at least, it's going to blow. Especially for John. And the very clever Elena got the bombs, away from the especially sensitive areas, and if it's not a load bearing poster, then it's and they can't quite get out because of all the rebar, and John is still alive, so they managed to save his life, because, like, how else are they gonna get out of there? And that was also good, son of a bitch, hey, show some respect to the people who saved you. No, I meant Nate. And the thing about, I could teleport all of us out of here, and they're like, but you're John Garrett, though. And then he's like, new timeline, new John Garrett. And I think it's Phil MD who says, yeah, that makes it worse. And it really does, because, like, the other John Garrett, they were like, well, we can trust him to betray us. But this new one, it's like, I don't know. Like, who to... Okay, let's check the scoreboard here. He betrayed S.H.I.E.L.D. before they betrayed him. Now he's seemingly betrayed. Well, I guess he did sort of betray Nate by, agreeing to call off the bombs. Now is he gonna betray them to try to get back in Nate's good graces? We don't know. So that was a really nice bit of, and he does. They ultimately do take a chance, and he teleports them to the New York. That was also great. That this is a fax. Turns out I don't read fax, and 084. and they go to the place, and Garrett is shot, and it was apparently Victoria Hand, which is a fun reversal because yeah, you know, let's see, I think it was Ward who shot her rather than John, but it was at John's, John wanted that to happen, so yeah, and she's like, oh, not again, but they're like, no, 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 he was totally a traitor. He was going to betray us any second now, I think, again. Let's see, and yeah, very clever, this idea of oh, we all brought our 084s that were from different parts of the overall timeline, and then the last person shows up, sorry I'm late, and yeah, he says it was Enoch or one of the Koenigs. That's so clever. Yeah, it was impossible for the Chronocoms to stop that, because they would have had to find, how are you going to find all these different parts in different, different times on the, yeah, and part of it was also that Gemma had forgotten, so they couldn't get that information out of her because of the chip. But yeah, then they assemble the thing. I forget who, but one of them asks, what are you doing, Gemma? And I just want her to respond, Voltroning. Did I have the right robot? I hope so. I haven't watched any of those in years. But we could also go with Ultra Mega Mega Man. But yeah, the thing about a singing key, and at the time we think, oh, she's confused, and it's honestly, it's genuinely kind of moving. Like, they don't spend forever on it, but I mean, the real world equivalent is like dementia or Alzheimer's or something. So yeah, it's very, very convincing, and that is indeed sad in the real world. Let's see, but yeah, no, singing key meant something, and the thing with, she keeps thinking about marriage because she had to marry the parts to get to her husband, her married partner. I'm married, I have proof, and the ring is how you unlock. And also, Phil M D be like, I don't know if it's gonna save us or blow us up, but I'm a little disappointed that it didn't do either. I really liked Phil M D and May together. The other thing, this is so unlike me. I like the new you. So sweet. I think that might just about, and yeah, the thing with when we stopped Gordon, I lost a hand. That seemed huge at the time. Now look at me. Yeah. That is still such a great, like, even just the shot, like, we're seeing, because, like, I remember watching it and I was like, I guess this is the end of Coulson, because, like, how's he, and then the axe, like, we don't even see Max swing it, we just see the axe land and chop off the hand, just, yeah. Let's see, I think that does bring us nicely to, yeah, the very last bit of the episode with, the machine is activated and Fitz comes back, and yeah, wearing a dorky looking helmet, which is not the only reason that protects him from the real bad guys. And he approaches Gemma and she backs away because she's, she doesn't remember. So sad. I really hope they're able to fix that in the finale. But yeah, and that is also, again, I'm genuinely not sure how exactly they're going to be able, because like, okay, Fitz is back, and I'm sure he has some idea and is going to explain it and really help, but like, right now there's all these Chronocom spaceships over Earth, like, it's not that Nate and some hunters are going to go to the New York safe house, according to Sybil. And I don't think he's going to be able to do it without her help, especially now that the Zephyr isn't there. But Sybil is looking in the timeline for, like the because I don't think that Sybil ever said there was 100% probability that Fitz would be able to stop them, just a higher probability that the agents would win if Fitz were working with them. So, yeah, that is cause for concern. I think that might be everything for this episode. Yeah. Just really, really enjoy. Really gonna miss this show. But yeah, the end is at hand. You know. But yeah, right early in the episode, that was what I got away from May, uh, in distress over the deaths of all these shield agents, and yeah, she's like, it was just as if nearly every shield agent on Earth cried out in frustration that the show is almost over, and yet some relief that at least it got to go out on its own terms, and were suddenly silenced.